So today let us talk about the random access memory, commonly referred to as RAM. I believe kulingana sahi, most people, this is something you are familiar with. Given the digital era that you are in, most of the devices tunatumia, the smart devices, the smartphones and the computers zinakuja na what this refers to as the ROM and RAM. Sahi mtu akitaka any given device, computing device utaona anaulizia. Apart from storage na maybe camera and all that, utaona pia anaulizia like na RAM yake ni size gani, kitu kama hiyo. But sijui kama don't know kama you have an understanding of how this RAM, the role that this RAM plays on that given device. I think that's what that is the reason why we are here for this discussion, to know of how our devices uses the RAM. Because I think most of the people may interact now when it comes to anything related to mambo na RAM. Some people kona that kind of a misunderstanding whereby wanna believe that it's just an extra storage space, kitu kama hiyo. But that is not the case. Tutaona this discussion, we'll get to see the difference. So to do that, I'm going to use a real life example. But before that, ningependa kwanza tuizi to categorize all these storage location into their respective groups. There are two main types of storage devices for any computing device. That is the primary memory and the secondary memory. So within the secondary memory ndio utapata the most common devices zenye tunatumia sana, vitu kama flash disk, hard disk drive, solid state drive, CD, DVD, memory card, all those. Hizo zinapatikana under the secondary storage type of storage devices. And then vitu kama ROM ama read only memory, the random access memory and the cache memory, those ones tunapatikana under the primary memory devices. So what is the main difference? What sets them apart? This kind of memory, nini inazi differentiate? The main difference here comes with how these devices interact with the CPU, the central processing unit. Now, for instance, utapata that any given data yenye collocated within a primary memory device, the CPU can directly access that data. Like the CPU can directly interact with these primary memory devices. But now for any given data yenye collocated pale kwa secondary storage devices, the CPU cannot directly access it. What happens is that this data must first be loaded into a primary memory device, where it will later on be fetched by the CPU for processing. So that is the main difference. That is sets them apart. So as I've said, with this discussion, we are going to have that and that kind of, we are going to get the difference and solve any form of a misunderstanding between the two. Na tutaelewa how they do work, ama what role the RAM plays on our device. So the real life example that I'm using here is that assuming wewe ni cook, you're a cook pale kwa nyumba, you want to prepare some meal for the visitors. So normally what you'll do, you'll gather all the ingredients necessary for this preparation, uzieke hapo mali kwa kitchen area before you begin the cooking process. So assuming that this is a big house whereby the store is located mahali a distance huko. So what happens that before hata washe moto and all that, you'll have to gather all these ingredients right from the store huko, ukuje nazo hapa right at the kitchen. Then from there uko na everything there, ndio sasa utaanza utawasha moto, ndio sasa wanze maandalizi yako sasa hapo. But why are you doing so? It's because to avoid maybe what is maybe inconvenience. Because on a believe zikiwa hapo mahali around hapo kwa kitchen area, you can easily access them and work on them. Kama ni hizo sukari, unga, nyanya, vitunguu zikiwa hapo around hapo, itakuwa easier for you to process the meal. Itakuwa easier as compared to having to go back and forth huko kwa store huko. Maybe store iko mahali distance huko. So I think with that kind of scenario, that is the same thing that happen pia na any computing device ama smart device tuko nazo. In that anytime you as the user launch any program ama game pale kwa smartphone yako ama kwa computer, umeopen a software fulani ndio kwa nini we want to run it, there's kind of a loading process. this loading process, what is happening is that CPU now being the cook ama processor inaenda pale kwa permanent storage location, which is now maybe it's kwa computer utapata ni kitu kama hard drive ama solid state drive, but in our phone permanent storage utapata kitu kama flash memory iko just use the same technology na SSD ama solid state drive. So basically itaenda pale kwa secondary storage location and pick all the files that are necessary for this program that you have just started ama you have just launched, izichukue ikuje load kwa RAM. Now upon the moment imesha get down the loading process, now that's when it itaanza ku work on them. And that's why utapata anytime you may launch any kind of a program ama any software, kama software especially in kitu iko a bit heavier, there's that kind of a loading process that must happen, in that whereby easy files zikuwe ready kwa RAM kwanza, so that the CPU can start working on them, because the RAM has got the same properties, like the same properties to your kitchen area. At the kitchen area, you have an easy access to these files. It's very fast as compared to going back and forth to the storage to the store. So it's the same thing na RAM. RAM is very fast when it comes to retrieval. CPU na have an easier time to retrieve any given data or file from the RAM as it works on them, as it does the execution, kitu kama hiyo. So the same thing tutapata, think the same way tunaweza compare the two. You as the cook, you are the processor. You feel that it will be easier for you to access anything right there from the kitchen area as you work on them, as compared to going back and forth from the kitchen to the store. So another thing, pale kwa kitchen, I believe the moment you are done with the cooking process, what you do, you clear everything from the kitchen area, because you no longer need them. Maybe utazihitaji baadaye for another meal. It's the same thing that pia happen hapo kwa RAM, that anytime maybe umelaunch ile program and then you are done with it, so uta close your program. What will happen is that all the files ziko loaded pale kwa RAM zitakuwa erased, like zita disappear tu hivyo. They just simply get lost, just to give space for another program. Yeah, that's why tunaona that tunarefer kama this storage location ya RAM ama this primary memory tunarefer kama just a temporary storage. We are not storing anything here for future use, but we are just the CPU is simply ama the processor is simply storing them there for the current process that is taking place. So those are the things that you should be putting into consideration. Utapata sasa kama tuseme mtu unapata ako na simu ya 1GB RAM, so umeingia pale Play Store, umetafuta gaming hivi, umekuja umepata game fulani heavier sana, kama Dream League Soccer ama hizo FIFA ama kinakaa kama FIFA hivi, I think kitu kama hiyo. So umedownload, unataka play game. Yeah, according to maybe the Android version yako, maybe uko capable ko download your game, but now the RAM yako itakuangusha, because now that game ukiangalia it's heavier sana. RAM yako iwezi kwa able to hold on to all those files, so that the CPU can be fetching from it ikizi process ama ikizi execute. So it will happen that the CPU itafetch just a few files from the ROM, hiyo ni storage, the location, the main storage, the permanent storage ya nini yako ya phone yako, then ikuje is load kwa RAM, but those are not the only files yenye inahitaji. So it's like itaweka pending, the rest of the files itaweka pending na ianze kuwork with this files yenye ziko available. So kidogo utacheza game, but kidogo utaanza ku experience some form of lagging, like inaanza ku drag, inaanza ku hang, because now CPU may get down with this file and it is in need of more other different files kitu kama hiyo. So tena so it's like you are straining it. CPU na have to go back to the ROM ama your flash memory for the other files. See, now it will be it will be a challenge, because now as you're playing, you're expecting some real-time response. Una click out, so you're expecting some real-time response, but that cannot happen because the CPU inafaa ku execute easy clicking process una easy clicking commands unapeana is busy trying to fetch other files from the ROM. So this is what brings about that kind of a lagging, that kind of a hanging. yeah, because now RAM yako ni ndogo, so it becomes easier when the RAM is too big, because now the feature the CPU the moment inaenda pale kwa permanent storage, hata kama kwa computer sasa imeenda pale kwa solid state drive ama kwa hard drive, ina fetch all the files there's enough for run easy games, because now your RAM can hold on to all those files, ndio easy kuja load hapo. So the moment it starts executing them, especially kama sasa CPU yako is very powerful now, sasa hapo sasa kama RAM iko kubwa, now the rest of the task can remain to the CPU. Now it depends with how powerful the CPU is when it comes to execution. So kama uko na kwa computer hapa na kuna hizo multi core processing, CPU yako iko na several cores za kuprocess, so utapata zinasaidia na kuexecute easy process, kitu kama hiyo. It will becomes easier. Now the process becomes easier. Okay, I'm not saying that it's just the CPU na RAM peke yake ndio zina play nini. Kuna some other factors to kama pia GPU, which is also very important now for especially kama una run game na kitu ama software that has a lot of things to do with the graphics. Yeah, hapo pia utapata GPU pia ina have kuwa very powerful and all those. But basically for this discussion, I'm just trying to make you understand how important a RAM is in that given device. Yeah, so that so now that file RAM yako inaweza hold on to all these files, it will be easier for the CPU to simply be fetching these files as it works on them, as it does the execution. Yeah, so tukiangalia pale kwa definition tunaambiwa that definition ya RAM inakuwa defined kama a volatile type of memory that is used for storing data which is being currently used by the CPU. So first thing I think tunaona kita pale ni volatile. What do you mean by volatile? Means that it needs constant supply of energy. Yes, very basic. For now to be able, RAM yetu ndio ikuwe inaweza hold on to any data, inahitaji power. So what happens that any time tume switch off device yetu ama tume power off ama tume run out of power, any data that ilikuwa loaded pale kwa RAM ita disappear, to simply get lost, to kama hiyo. So that's why tuna refer kama volatile, which is different from the other secondary storage memory kama flash disk na hizo zingine ma hard disk, ma hard drive na nini ma CD. They do not need azihitaji constant supply of energy. Element flash yako pale kwa movie shop, ushakiwa movie kwa pale The Witcher, umeenda nayo hiyo flash, unahitaji at in energy power to connect kwa power, ndio sasa hiyo movie baki hapo. No, to just be there, unaweza watch hata kama ni next year ma 2020 watch, any other time utai watch tu bado. So that is now easy tunazifaa kama to kama hiyo flash tunairefer kama non-volatile, but the RAM it's volatile. It needs power for it to hold on to any data. Then volatile memory, which is used to store data that is being currently used by the CPU. So you can see that is the same thing I think tumeona kwa discussion yetu ama kwa scenario pale, that anything that is being stored kwa RAM inakuwa stored hapo mainly for the CPU actually ndio inastore pale that ina store pale the data that is being currently used. So anything it's not that is not being used, kama ni program yote ulikuwa umeopen na ukaifunga ama open another program, there's a bigger chance that files zilikuwa na run your program zatolewa, so that other files can be now, maybe kama hii program nyingine mpya umefungua tena, now the files for this newer program ndio zitakuwa written zitakuwa loaded kwa your RAM. Now the other programs, the files for the previous program will be overwritten, like zinatolewa zingine zikiandikwa hapo, maybe depending with the space of your RAM. Kama RAM ni ndogo, actually hizo files zitakuwa overwritten, but kama RAM ni kubwa, in some cases you find that the CPU ama the processor can still write the other files on a different location within the memory. And the term random access means that data can be stored and accessed from any location within the memory. Things sasa unaona that kind of freedom that yenye CPU iko nayo when it comes to interacting with the RAM means that any data yote ama nini yote inaweza write ama read from any location within the memory. I think that's hence now the higher performance that ama the better performance that the RAM will offer to the CPU. It's very different to come at the other storage devices kama hard drive, whereby you have to go to maybe a particular sector to kama hiyo. We'll get into that, more into that tukiangalia now into the system architecture of these storage devices, and you'll see the difference. So I think with this discussion, we have now been able to understand the RAM being the permanent storage and RAM being the temporary storage. And then you understand bona now you'll be in need of a bigger RAM or a smaller RAM, depending on the application or software that you are using. So with that given understanding or discussion, I don't know if there's anything mesao, just feel free to put it in the comment section and I'll be taking a look at it. Otherwise, allow me to wish you all a happy birthday.